I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled round, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win. I'll take a stab, I wanna chase a bag. I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. I'll give up everything.
The venom in my brain, running from the past, wanna escape my pain. I just wanna be a better person, I deserve this, I just wanna break these chains. Always asking for greatness, true to myself, I never fake it. Seen too many once that I so they get famous. And when I say the truth, most really can't take it. In spite of everything I've been through, I'ma make it. Fake friends, but on my downfall is toxic. Day one, started the outlaws for profit. Now all I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted. Created a legacy off of me, just being honest. And the fake ones hate, but it's all to no avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail.
I'll give up everything, daunting if I can see my dream, make things right, 'cause I'll do anything, want a reality.
It's the Value Wrestling. I'm the big time Mr. Z. We're here with the indie god himself, Matt Cardona.
This is real.
The Choppy Choppy is about to go down. Let's see it. Oh.
This guy just paid me $50. Matt Cardona, check out the Value Wrestling.
Cool.
It's about to go down. Let's get excited.
Alright guys, hey, come on, take care of it real quick. Over here, it's the Value Wrestling podcast and YouTube show.
I'm the big shot. This is the big man of Value Wrestling. And we starting.
Hey, DJ, turn the volume up a little bit.
How about that here, right there? Let's go. All right. Next year, this is Value Wrestling. I'm the big time. This is the big man, our big man. We recently started the Choppy World Tour with Matt Cardona. And we're making a donation towards. Well, we got to bring out the big Wait. We've already talked about you know how to it's the show. Okay. It's the Choppy World Tour. All right. Who we got?
Okay, who do you guys think has the best chops in SPW? Okay. I
It's about to go down.
There you go. You know what you want. Hold what you want. You got one shot at this. You got one shot. I want to make this the biggest, loudest shot they've ever heard. All right, okay.
Good shot. Good One more time. One more time.
Thank you guys so much. Give it up for Value Wrestling. Make sure you follow them on the social media platforms. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Value Wrestling. We're here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Value Wrestling. We're here at the end of Lodi Comic Con, and we got a Choppy challenger entering his name into the Choppy Hall of Fame after a beautiful long interview. The one, the only AJ Kirsch. Mr. Z, are you ready for the Choppy?
Yes.
When you're ready, gentlemen,
All right,
let the chopping begin.
The world tour continues, and I'm just gonna move that behind you. This is not going as smoothly as I thought. How does this go?
That way. There you go.
There we go.
Oh, man.
I said choppy, not choke.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled round, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win, I'll take a stab. I wanna chase a bag, I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. I'll give up everything. If I could see my dreams, make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what I wanna reality. Don't make
Wrestling, we're here at the end of Lodi Comic Con, and we got a Choppy challenger entering his name into the Choppy Hall of Fame after a beautiful long interview. The one, the only AJ Kirsch. Mr. Z, are you ready for the Choppy?
Yes.
When you're ready, gentlemen,
All right,
let the chopping begin.
The world tour continues, and I'm just gonna move that behind you. This is not going as smoothly as I thought. How does this go?
That way. There you go.
There we go.
Oh, man.
I said choppy, not choke him out.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Ready?
Yep.
Choppy World Tour continues.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good, brother.
That was a hell of a chop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging
There we
in
go
there.
again, man. Gotta add another one. Whew. That's one more to the list. Let's go again somewhere else.
Value Wrestling World Tour continues. Choppy.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. It took us a minute. Sorry about the technical delay there. I forgot to add one more video to the playlist to stay. And I'm sorry, AJ. I don't know how I forgot about to make sure your choppy video. As the Choppy Hall of Fame grows, someday we're not going to be able to show them all. We're going to have to pick out which one goes with which show. But Matt Cardona setting the standard, Chimo setting the bar, and AJ Kirsch. Well, I don't know, Mr. Z. Where does AJ Kirsch stand in that line? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Value Wrestling. Welcome to your weekly.
You're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. That would be. It would have to be in between Shima and Cardona.
Okay.
That's getting chopped by a pro too.
So now we just need to see if we can get the interview with Broseph and Joe Brody and see how he chops. Will Broseph Joe Brody join the Choppy Choppy World Tour, the Choppy Choppy Hall of Fame? We'll throw that challenge out there. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This is the Value Wrestling. This is the weekly round.
I got one ready for real quick. One more time, real quick, because I said who was next, and it looked like the Stoner Bros might want a piece of that tour as well. Ooh, which are the guys the forefront of Hood Slam.
More
Now,
information.
would it be the Stoner Bros or the Suburban Community?
The Stoner Bros, those are the guys that trained Shotzi Blackheart.
So when and where will this maybe take place? Or we have to reach.
It could be at any one of the. We'll have to reach out to them and find out where they're at, because they were asking to have their hat thrown in the ring at Realm of Warriors.
Okay, well, if they show up at Realm Warriors, that might be the place and time. We'll have to see if we can set that up. That, or we may have to take up a Hood Slam show and change our lives forever, from what I'm understanding. Because Hood Slam, after a lengthy interview with AJ Kirsch, is not your typical wrestling show. This is wrestling at a whole different level in a whole different world, and it might be life-changing. So that we may have to... Maybe we have to do a party. Maybe we have to do a party. Maybe we set that up. We go to Hood Slam. Maybe they can set it up with Hood Slam. Maybe our other buddy AJ. Maybe AJ takes us as his guest to a Hood Slam show. So we can be protected.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what type of crowd we're walking into. So
it's not AEW.
Oh, geez.
No, we'd probably last 10 minutes in an AEW building before we got thrown out. But maybe at Realm of Warriors Championship Wrestling on the 11th of November in Elk Grove at the Lodi Great Festival Grounds. Realm of Warriors returning there. If that all works out, maybe it happens there. Or if not, maybe we have to work with them. AJ, let's make it a party. Let's all hit up some Hood Slam. So AJ, if you're watching or checking in on us, because we had a wonderful interview with you, and we're going to be talking about you most of the night. We'll have to make sure that gets tweeted out. Hey, AJ, what about taking us to a Hood Slam show so we can see the Stoner Bros, so they can possibly join the Choppy Choppy Hall of Fame along with that? Could be an entertaining night. Maybe we get exposed to Broseph Joe Brody in that situation as a one-off visit. Definitely not wrestling at this point as we understand it, but hey, maybe he shows up to just give us a little of what Flavor Flav that might be. TikTok, ring-a-ding-dock. Anyways, the Value Wrestling, this is your weekly roundup podcast. We thank you all for being here in the chat, joining the conversation. Hang out for the wild ride that is the weekly roundup podcast. Last week, the 1,000 subscriber celebration. This week, kind of low on the news, not a lot. I mean, the biggest news would be it looks like there's some big business coming to AEW. We're going to get into that because not only did that business go to AEW, but they came to Lodi Comic-Con, and within a couple of days here, within a couple of weeks, that same business might be back in the area when AEW comes to Stockton, California for Collision and Battle for the Belts. So, I mean, will we see more business taking a hurting in the San Joaquin Valley? We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Lodi Comic-Con, the events went there. We're going to talk about SPW, Supreme Pro Wrestling, their events coming up. We're going to talk about West Ghost Designs. It's still a mouthful. I'm still trying to remember it because it's somebody new that is going to be working with us, and we hope to be promoting them on air very soon. But they've got a special show coming up that we're going to talk about, and we're going to talk about a whole bunch of other stuff. We're going to give you a little sampling taste of what's coming from New Japan Pro Wrestling in the Rebound this week, what's coming from the Deep Dive this week, and a new show that Mr. Z is going to start bringing you so he can get you as excited as he is about independent wrestling in Northern California or even across the country. He's going to start deep diving into this independent world and teaching you some of the big names that are out here that you might want to be keeping an eye on, because they very well be the stars of the future. And along with speaking about stars of the future, on Wednesday, I believe October 2nd at 8 p.m., me and Mr. Z will be here on the Value of Wrestling with another wonderful interview with SPW champion for over 300, and I'm sure, I think it's like 350 some odd days. I have to go check. But coming up on a 1-year reign as SPW champion, the Dart Fox, the Obsidian Adonis, Illuminate, is going to be joining us in an interview. Me and Mr. C are going to sit down, and we're going to ask those hard-hitting questions and introduce you to Illuminate. I think I'm saying that right. Am I hitting it on the head, Mr. Z? You
got it pretty good.
You had the first class training. You had the first class training.
Yes.
So
I did.
Illuminate.
Yes, I did.
Wait a minute. When was Mr. Z trained by AJ Francis?
Did I say top dollar? Did I say?
First class.
How dare you, sir?
You're
How
calling-
dare you? Go to the corner.
Okay. Well, I was saying that actually Mr. Z got to talk to Illuminate's mother. So that's who I was calling world class, first class, meaning he got directly from a source, the name, in reference there. So that's kind of where that was going.
Yes.
AJ Francis can go sit in the corner and
Oh my God.
AJ Francis can sit in the corner and hopefully not jump over any top ropes, and we should be good. Let's get into the dirty, and let's get into the nerdy of professional wrestling as the news is coming. And I think this one's going to hurt Mr. Z as much as it kind of hurts me that we have to go against one of the people we love listening to and usually love hearing from, in James E. Cornette, as is being stated on his recent drive-through, that Cornette is not very impressed with the recent developments in WWE, as there is a new Intercontinental Champion in Jey Uso. And this is what James E. Cornette had to say, and I quote, "I've got a lot of least favorites in AEW, but I'm now officially declaring Jey Uso is my least favorite top guy gimmick in wrestling. It's all over, but I hate it. I hate Yeet. I hate that Ringling Brothers outfit he's wearing with Yeet on his arms and flower petals on his legs and his fluorescent blue all over. I hate his work, which has gone to hell because of his hot doggery, which is not only over the top, but also it seems to me to be hard to work with because the timing of his hot doggery is just a step behind the beat. I don't like any of this," Jim Cornette said. He didn't go on to say, "Uso is the new Intercontinental Champion, and Braun Breaker only held that title for about 2 months. I know he has a long way to go, and I'm sure they have plans for him, but everyone else seemed to love the finish while I did not share their enthusiasm." Cornette then also talked about, "I don't understand why they need to beat Braun at this point. I wish they had given Jay another significant win without taking the title off of Braun. Now thinking about it, the Intercontinental title was transitioned from Gunther to Braun Breaker." Of course, she left out Sami Zayn, but he said Gunther to Braun Breaker, where we could count on incredible matches with Gunther and a solid performance from Braun. Now we have the title with Jey Uso. Sami Zayn is a great worker as well, but when it comes to newer talent, we have Gunther, who can really go, and Braun, who can always deliver. And then there's Jey Uso. However, I don't think we'll be looking forward to those matches. Jim Cornette, not excited about Jey Uso being a new Intercontinental Champion, his look, his presentation in the ring. I tend to go, I think Jey Uso is deserving. I think the coloring is giving him something different to set him away from everything. I know Mr. Clark's probably like, yes, no more Yeet, no more Yeet. I think on that end, he might agree slightly with James G. Cornette, because, Mr. Clark's our very own Eater of Worlds, but that's a whole different story. But the way I look at it, I love Jim Cornette. I love to hear what he says. I respect his opinion, and I will respectfully disagree. I think Braun Breaker can deliver, but not on the main roster has he really delivered I mean, he's delivered good matches, but he really hasn't delivered himself. He really hasn't hit that peak. I think what you need to do is reset Braun Breaker, take him off TV. You maybe bring him back at the Rumble as a beast man that runs through a whole bunch of people in the Rumble. Let him eliminate almost as many people as Brock Lesnar did at that time when Brock Lesnar had the ring to himself before Drew McIntyre came in and eliminated him. Not that Braun Breaker needs to win it, but I think Braun Breaker needs to come in, have a dominant showing in the Royal Rumble, and then you have him start running through opponent after opponent, lower end to mid-tier to maybe upper tier, maybe start building to him and Goldberg. Give Goldberg the retirement match where he could pass the torch to Braun Breaker. But I think Jey Uso's in the right place. I think Jey Uso was the right person for the Intercontinental title. I do think it was a mistake to put it on Braun Breaker for the period they did, because he wasn't ready, and it didn't really do anything. Like, Jey taking it from Braun, the right Intercontinental champion, but it probably should have been sooner. It didn't really, like, elevate Jey anymore to beat Braun for that title. It just finally gave Jey that moment. Now, some people are coming out and saying, well, it's all because Daddy cried. Daddy cried. Not Mama cried in this song, but it was Daddy who was crying about his son. And, you know, you take it with what you can, but I think Jey Uso was well deserving of a singles title. He's definitely near a top main event star, but he's not world title contention. So I think this is a perfect way to keep him in a place, put a title on him, make him look good, give him some shine. So when he loses that Intercontinental title, maybe he can make that next leap into what could be considered a true world title contender. Is he main event? Yes. Is he world title contender? No. But with that said, I'm going to give the floors to my counterparts. We'll start with Mr. Clark, because I think he might have more counterpoints. But we will see. Mr. Clark, your thoughts on what Jim Cornette said and Jey Uso being the new Intercontinental champion.
First of all, when has Jim Cornette ever been in? You know, he's not very. Doesn't give much praise to modern wrestling in general. So I mean, you come into his podcast knowing that off the top. Now his specific points about Jey Uso, it's one opinion. There's many out there, and there's enough opinions that are pro Jey Uso that the WWE wants to push him. So take with that what you want. I think was it last week? I forget which show it was, but I talked about how Braun Breaker versus Jey Uso, whoever was losing the situation. Because if you give the Intercontinental title to Jey Uso, you kind of make Braun Breaker's Intercontinental title reign, not so good. But if you don't give the win to Jey Uso, that kind of his whole story as an individual wrestler kind of goes down as well. Because like there's a reason why it's called main event. If you don't keep up a certain aura, a certain status, then that moniker of event becomes a joke. So they were they basically shot themselves into a shoot. They did what they felt was best. So it's like I don't mind that Jey Uso's the Intercontinental champion, but like Big Time just said, now Braun Breaker needs to be reset. And they gotta figure out what to do and how to make him have he had. Because why that hasn't translated to the main roster, I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if it's a difference between, what Shawn Michaels decided to do with him and maybe Triple H. I'm sure he keeps an eye on the NXT, but he's got his hands full with 2 shows of the main roster. So I don't know if it's a matter of him not being able to keep his eyes everywhere that you would want him to, or what the deal is. I'm not sure why NXT Braun Breaker hasn't translated to the main roster the way we know it can. That's kind of my 2 thoughts on that.
I think a big part is when he came to my main roster, I don't think there's that continuation. I think they try more now than they did under Redacted's era. But I don't know if the fans are paying enough attention to really be connected to these people. So when these people show up, they're kind of like, who? So I think maybe that's where a little bit where the ball got dropped. And I don't think I think they were trying to do something, but it didn't get there. And I think the big thing is they did a lot with the Ricochet thing, and then it kind of fizzled for a little bit. And then they rushed him to the Intercontinental title, and I'm just like, that's a no-go. Mr. Z, I know, like me, you enjoy. Go ahead, counterpoint.
There's one other point I do want to make, though. Braun Breaker talks about how, in that one promo, where he didn't need his family, he didn't need his family name, etc., etc. You notice how he keeps having more and more mannerisms, though, from his family legacy.
Yeah.
Whether it's using the Frankensteiner, whether it's using a jacket that looks like a jacket his father would wear.
or coming out to the dogs barking.
You know, but it is there for those of us that do know.
Yes. Mr. Z, I know you enjoy Cornette like I do, but how do you feel about this?
Cornette is going to be Cornette, and we can't we can't keep him from being that way. Cornette is always going to have an opinion. He's going to be negative. He doesn't like the modern era. He'll never get with the times. He'll never agree to it, and that's completely fine. But I do feel that they did book themselves into a hole on this one, because Braun Breaker wasn't coming across as the Intercontinental Champion as we would have hoped. The title was making the man versus the man making the title, and like everyone was thinking, maybe a lot of the heat coming from his Jay's father didn't help. You know, I feel like this a little bit had to been a satisfactory kind of thing, just like maintain peace. You can't make Braun a monster. You can't make Braun a monster and then beat him like this. It doesn't work. It doesn't help. And a reset button might help, but who knows?
I think they tried to make him a monster in some. I don't know if they tried to make him a monster. Is what I meant to say. They never really presented him as a monster on the main roster like they should have in some senses. Mr. Clark, you have a counterpoint.
Now, us talking amongst as fans is one thing. I don't know how much Rikishi, putting out the words he has on his own podcast had any effect on creative, though. It's like, and we can talk about it and we can make the arguments here for and against, but I don't think it matters as much as some fans think it does.
And I tend to agree. I tend to agree with you, but Mr. Z is bringing up the same point that a lot of other people are, is that they're pointing the finger that, oh, it's Rikishi was trying. There's a lot of heat to his podcast and his tweeting recently with a lot of, family issues. Jace getting pushed, not getting pushed. Jimmy, we need prayers for Jimmy, whatever's going on. Jacob Fatu is getting pushed too quickly. So, I mean, that comes down to fan speculation, fans jumping on a bandwagon more than a reality hardcore factor, what some podcasters or quote unquote, I know they don't all like to be called reporters, but I mean, if you've got inside sources and you're writing articles and you're coming out, you kind of fall in that reporter category.
One term, like Sean Ross Sapp will say, he is not a I'm forgetting the term now. Shoot. Not reporter. There's another term.
Journalist.
I wouldn't know he blocked me.
Mr. Z wouldn't know since he got himself blocked.
Yes.
Yes.
You may call yourself not a reporter, not a journalist, but there's certain aspects you do that kind of make you in that position. Whether you really want to take that title or not, it's a different story. But I mean, there's a difference between what fans are speculating and what other people are actually reporting as facts over the fact. Now, a lot of people, as fans, as what they're reading, are going, oh, it's because of Rikishi. What people are reporting may be slightly different. Speaking of that family, we do want to make a quick announcement, because me and Mr. Z did see live Journey Fatu at Rebel Warriors' last event, and he seems to have gone missing in San Francisco. His brother or cousin, I forget which one, has gone to Twitter asking if you see him, let him know. It seems like Journey Fatu, for whatever reason, is missing. Is this some type of storyline, or is this reality? I don't know. That's the only bad thing with wrestling. We're not trying to pitch it that this is any storyline. I'm just saying you get a message like this and you're like, okay, this is different. But if Journey Fatu is out there, family's looking for you, hopefully he returns and it's, not an issue, not something big. Because it was just kind of put out there today. Very weirdly, we hope everything and everybody is okay.
Yes.
So, this week had two big things happen on Wednesday. One, MVP went all elite. Two, the Vince McMahon documentary came out. We did a full review on that. You can check it out on the channel. You can find out how we felt about it. New viewers may have found a lot of it. I feel like the sentiment is the same for people who are deep historians in some fashion, or people who've been around WWE long enough. I think the sentiment was all the same. It was everything we all knew about. They touched on certain things. Some people have complained that they didn't talk about all the good stuff Vince did, and didn't talk about how they've helped Make-A-Wish and the breast cancer and all these other things, and they didn't promote Vince's all the good stuff, because all the good stuff Vince has done outweighs blah blah blah. And it's like, and then the other people are out there going, oh, they didn't really talk about any of the scandals or dig deep enough into the scandals. They should have talked more about the scandal. This piece was a safe piece, and it was within the confines of what was going to continue Netflix's. Netflix shouldn't go really after Vince. That might have tarnished the agreement they had with WWE. Who knows? It was a piece. It was what it was. Where you stand on it is where you stand on it. Everybody's welcome to their opinion. But it was reported that Vince McMahon was working on a response to the Netflix piece. And then it was reported that he was going to work with close friend, ally, buddy, confidant, Kevin Dunn on this hit piece. And PW Insider has come out to report in a response to the conversation that Kevin Dunn is producing a Vince McMahon piece that would respond to the Netflix Vince McMahon docuseries. It has now been clarified by the outlet that the rumors are absolutely incorrect. So it does not look like Kevin Dunn at this time. And of course, this could be all hush-hush. Anything could change. Anything could really be going on. We don't know. Doesn't really matter. But I don't think we're going to see. And I think Mr. Redacted himself has a lot more on his plate than worrying about trying to respond or counter-respond to a Netflix docuseries that he was originally all on board for. And then when everything went down, he wasn't too excited about it. And I don't necessarily think this did anything to bury him. I don't think it did anything to make him look better as a person. I just think, and I don't think Netflix really did him in. I think Vince himself, with his own comments, did more damage to himself than anything. There was just comments he made in this docuseries that were just like, why would you say that? So I can't really say Netflix buried him. If anybody buried themselves, Vince screwed Vince.
Oh, jeez.
Tell me what I'm telling lies.
Didn't he? You're good. But here's the thing that I was trying to give off of. Why all of a sudden did they say it was a hit piece?
That's people's statements. I mean, that's just what people's opinion are saying. That's just comments that are coming up in talking about this.
Okay.
Just as long as you stay away from any... Just stay away from the Tony Atlas comments. I'm tired of seeing those all over the place. Those are on like repeat 24/7 now. It's like hearing this is the song that never... Now Tony Atlas's statement is over everything. I mean, I've seen so many people march safe from that comment that I'm just like, okay, we killed a bad joke.
I wish I was an Oscar Mayer. What?
You're just jealous that he didn't grab yours, all right? So why don't you go stroke your wiener and be happy?
I would, but she's not in here.
Mr. Clark, if you can
redacted and she left.
If you could follow up and stay PG, go ahead.
Yes, this is absolutely PG. Because what the point I want to make is, not a hit piece. It's not really, it's not, the glorification of Vince. I think the point, I don't know, regardless of what the original point was for Vince McMahon to put this, wanting to have this out, I think Netflix put this out as an introduction, knowing, like, let's get the audience caught up onto what is WWE. We are bringing Raw in January. This is a perfect thing, plus all the...
Well, Mr. Clark's internet's telling him to go jump off a bridge tonight. He's on...
Oh, no.
He's on stutter speech right now. We lost half of your statement there. No. You went
Mr.
stuttering.
Clark, you good? Is he back?
Let me see if I can shorten this and boil it.
Go ahead.
I think the point of Netflix at this point, putting out the Mr. McMahon documentary, was kind of spoon feeding the new audience, get you caught up. What is WWE? What is the founder about? The good, the bad, the ugly. In addition to shows they have on there like Heels, like the docu they had that dealt with OVW. I think it was just called The Wrestler or something like that. I forget. But the point being is they're spoon feeding their audience, so when Raw comes in January, the audience is up to date.
Yes. To go back to the Journey Fatu situation, I do have a report here. Former MLW and now WWE star and former or current or favorite star of Value Wrestling, one of the big names that we have right here on the channel with a beautiful shout out each and every time. Jacob Fatu, earlier he signed with WWE and has been on a tear, which is great. He also has a brother in the business named Journey Fatu. However, it feels that Journey Fatu has gone missing. Journey Fatu is Jacob Fatu's brother and Rikishi's nephew. He was a comedian in various promotions all over the world, including MLW, West Coast Professional Wrestling, and many other promotions. Bloodline family member Juicy Finoe, excuse me, I'm not a good. Anyways, he has worked with Journey, took to Twitter and announced that Journey Fatu has gone missing and expressed concern for him. He shared a message saying he doesn't know where Journey is and misses him. He asked anyone who might have seen Journey Fatu to contact him as soon as possible. Fanoe has also encouraged people to hashtag where's Journey if they spot him. That's interesting. The big element, though, is the only thing that I'm mixed up about is the statement is Journey Fatu last competed during the West Coast Pro Friday the 13th event on September 13th. This is certainly a stressful and concerning situation for the Bloodline family, and we hope that Journey Fatu will be found safely. So the last time anybody supposedly, at least family-wise, as we're hearing, has seen Journey Fatu was on September 13th, which is over 16 days ago, 2 weeks ago. So who knows? Hopefully everything's good. I wonder why the hashtag where's Journey. I guess that gets out there. I mean, I know hashtag create, buzz and hype and an easy way to connect, but I don't know. Weird situation there. Let's talk about another one of Mr. Clark's favorites. JBL breaks his silence on WWE contract and made appearances in other promotions. WWE Hall of Famer JBL has been making appearances at various independent wrestling events, marking an unexpected return to outside of WWE. He recently addressed his contractual status with the company as well. In the past, JBL has been making headlines by appearing in several high-profile events. He made an appearance alongside Nick Nemeth at Triple H Triple Mania, and then he returned at GCW Homecoming event, and then at OVW before returning to TNA. JBL for these appearances did not need approval from WWE, and while speaking to Q&A sessions on Sports Kita Wrestling, JBL addressed his contractual status, stating he has never shared details about it. He mentioned that WWE has a confidentiality clause and believes it's not good business to discuss contracts. JBL also pointed out that regardless of whether he's under contract, the online speculation about him is inaccurate. He acknowledged that he has seen various rumors circulating about him on the internet, asserting that they are completely wrong. He maintained that he won't confirm or deny his contract status as WWE's confidentiality policy prevents him from discussing such matter. JBL expressed his refusal to engage with speculation while emphasizing that it is incorrect. And he went on to say, and these are the words of JBL, I'm going to answer this as politically correct, not politically correct, as correct for me as possible. I've never answered a question about my contract, and I can tell you 100% for this. I've seen speculation about me on the internet, and it's all wrong, 100% wrong. I'm not going to answer whether I am or not, because WWE has always had a confidentiality clause in it, and I've never thought it was good business to discuss my contract or anybody else's, and so on. I'm sorry, but I refuse the answer, but I will say that the speculation about me has been wrong. Or is he completely telling lies? Who knows what the status of JBL's contract is, and I think, we understand that WWE has reasons for things being secretive for whatever reason. So, is he under a legend seal? Maybe. Is he not? Maybe. Is he a free agent? Maybe. Is he going around and having fun? That is probably a real good yes. Gentlemen, do you have any thoughts on JBL?
Man, it's been such a surprise just seeing him pop up in the different spots. One of the things he had said in one of the interviews was he didn't want to be remembered for his last angle with Corbin. Nothing wrong with Corbin, but he wanted to be remembered for something different. And so all these pop-ups are happening, and I'm wondering, what is the end game though? If he's not going to eventually come into a match, just popping up, I mean, it's kind of cool. It creates buzz, but what is the end game? And that's what I'm still kind of wondering for JBL.
Mr. Z, anything you want to add?
I just want to add, I'm enjoying seeing him pop up everywhere. There's nothing wrong seeing a clothesline from hell every now and again. But yeah, what's the end game? Is he gonna finally hang up the cowboy hat eventually, or is he just gonna keep doing this until he's done?
In other news, maybe a little bit sadder news, recent events in the Americas and in North America, in the U.S., has triggered a lot of talk, a lot of buzz. It's all over everybody's news station if you're paying any attention. Hurricane Helena has passed through the Gulf Coast and up into the Midwest, all the way from Florida through Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, parts of Kentucky, and North Carolina, even on up in through those areas, and it has wreaked havoc, severe havoc, and it's affected many people. And as you know, many wrestlers, especially some of the great NXT stars, live in Florida, and we know many stars live in Georgia, throughout the area. We know the rich history of Tennessee. We know that Knox County is eastern Tennessee that saw some heavy damage from this, and the mayor of Knox County out there in beautiful eastern Tennessee, Glenn Jacobs, or better known as Kane. And we know that a lot of people live in the Asheville area, and Asheville's been, Asheville, North Carolina has been devastated. We hope that FTR, Adam Copeland, and Beth Phoenix and other people in that area are recovering. But we're going to talk about one star and former legend and WWE Hall of Famer, Lita. She's done a lot for the world of professional wrestling, but she's ultimately a human being and is at the mercy of Mother Nature. In fact, she has shown devastating effects of Hurricane Helena on her property. Hurricane Helena has created major disturbance in the professional wrestling scene, impacting various events, has caused extensive damage across Florida, North Carolina, and several other states within the region. The storm has resulted in the rising death toll of 64 people at this time, with millions of homes without power, water, and some flooded with water in some areas of eastern Tennessee, I know, that were a dam gave way, and within an hour, cities and towns were flooded. That didn't really give people enough time to get out. One notable consequence of the cancel. Oh, well, who cares if Fozzy got canceled? Anyways, moving right along. Additionally, TNA Wrestling initially rescheduled their upcoming show in Spartanburg, South Carolina, but that has since been canceled. Even FTR was pulled from an indie event due to the hurricane. Many celebrities have been impacted by the hurricane's destruction, and in her Instagram story, Lita shared a video showing her wading through water in her flooded basement, revealing her struggles as disaster continues into its third day. The water in the basement has almost reached knee level, and it's apparent Lita is trying to clear her basement as much as possible. Former AEW WWE star CJ Perry requests prayers for her parents, while others are searching for missing individuals amidst the chaos. Regardless, we certainly hope Lita and others that are affected by this hurricane are okay, safe, and they are able to recover. I know Perry's parents are trapped because of the hurricane. I don't know all the in-depth details of that, but we know there are 7 people affected. We know FTR, Adam Copeland, live in Asheville, North Carolina. And I don't know exactly where Lita lives. I don't know if the Hardy compound is where Cameron exactly is. If Cameron, North Carolina, faced any impacts, I haven't heard anything from them. But we just want to put in the thoughts and prayers, not just the wrestling people, but everybody who's affected by this devastating storm that has just wreaked havoc across the southeast of the United States and left people without power, homes, water, and even down to the fact that we've lost at this point 64 lives, and that death toll seems to be counting, and it's a tragic event. And it's not normally something we cover, but it does affect wrestling. So, I mean, we just want to, remember everybody in our prayers. What's up, Samoan Watchman? We hope you're doing good. Let us know. We still have your Bailey here, so let us know when you want us or how you want to get that. Gentlemen, natural disasters.
Man, the only ones that were cool was earthquake and typhoon.
You know what? The best gimmick was the Shockmaster. Anyways.
Yeah, we now got the Z Master. Hmm.
Hey, I've done a lot for this brand that I should be a little past that for the most part, but it will happen eventually.
Now, I don't know for you. I don't know, Mr. Clark, why your time in Florida, if you ever had a I don't know if a slight hurricane came through the area, but I know I've lived in Florida, experienced hurricanes. I've lived in Oklahoma, Tennessee, Kentucky, that area, seen tornadoes, lived here in California, 89, where all three of us experienced differently. The 89 earthquake, which was probably a mind shaker. I don't know if Mr. Z would have been like me in 89, laying out, ready to watch the game 3 of the A's Giants World Series game, and going, what in the world is this about? Of course, at that time, I was a little kid that had just recently, like 2 years removed from being in Oklahoma to California, and the pond behind the apartment I lived in had water going like this, and the ground shaking, and the TV going off, and I'm like, what in the world is going on?
The ultimate in surround sound and feeling.
Yeah, we were doing 4D before the theaters were. We joke, but we know natural disasters are severe. I've seen natural disasters. I was in Clarksville, Tennessee, when the big flood happened out there, and what was that? 2010, I think, 2009, somewhere in that ballpark. So we've seen different disasters on different levels. So our thoughts and prayers with everybody in the recovery, finding lost family members, no matter where you stand on anything. We just hope everybody recovers.
I have family in Georgia right now as we speak, and they, they got hit pretty hard. They're dealing with no power. So yeah, definitely thoughts and prayers out in that direction. That's no joke.
Everybody, thank you for joining the conversation. Tell us what you're thinking. The Simpsons. Who would have thought we'd have been talking about The Simpsons on the Value of Wrestling, let alone the weekly roundup? But The Simpsons premieres its new episode tonight as comic book guy and his girlfriend or wife, I haven't kept up with the show, deliver a baby to a new midwife, and the multi-time world champion movie star, what was the other thing? Oh, rapper John Cena made his debut on The Simpsons.
Wow.
Helping give birth to comic book guy's baby. Yes, John Cena does it all.
Apparently, this is basic thugonomics.
You can't see him.
Yes, that's what he told the baby. You can't see me. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, ex-WWE writer claims Ricochet will not experience quality booking under Tony Khan. A lot of talk here. We've talked about it in depth, but here comes another report. After leaving WWE earlier this year, he has now joined the AEW roster. And Ricochet has actually came out and said that if AEW would have existed in the time before he signed to WWE, he would have never gone to WWE. Ricochet has been a middle of the road, not necessarily totally bashing WWE, but definitely seems that he wasn't very much enjoying his time in WWE for whatever reasons. He did come out and talk on recent posts that he was talking about wanting to release to John Laurinaitis, and they said, what if we put the Intercontinental title? And then he was watching the show, and they're telling him that he's having a match next week for the Intercontinental title. Time is coincidence. Ricochet stated that while he has been consistently featured on WWE TV, fans have seen more of him in terms of quantity rather than the true quality of what he can deliver in the ring. But while speaking to Sportskeeda Wrestling Binge, Vince Russo addressed what Ricochet had to say. Russo called out Ricochet and said that Ricochet wouldn't experience quality in AEW, either, as he is now working for Tony Khan, referencing Tony Khan's track record over the past 5 years. And the bro of the bros said this, bro, they're not going to be quality at AEW either, bro. Come on, Ricochet, stop, bro. You're not going to work for Tony Khan, bro. If you haven't seen this guy's track record, bro, for the last 5 years, I'm pretty sure there's not going to be any quality, bro. Ricochet also revealed that Vince McMahon criticized him for being too much of a spectacle in the ring. Regardless, Ricochet is more than happy to be in AEW right now, even as a huge title match is looming in the next week. I hate to say it again. I think this is the second time on this channel and maybe on this program that I've had to make any reference to Vince Russo, bro, and slightly agree with him in some context. Now, I know Ricochet was a big bolster. I'm going to go to AEW, and I'm going to show everybody, the wrestling fans, what they've been missing, what I haven't been able to give them. And I haven't seen anything else. I see a rush to put him in a match with Will Ospreay for no good reason, except to get that match off the checklist. And to do their anniversary, their 5-year show, big by having Ricochet and Will Ospreay tied up. Only for what I assume Ricochet is going to take his loss and lose to Will Ospreay. Because, I mean, of course, Ricochet could win and give a loss to Will Ospreay and have a title. And then he's going to join the likes of Will Ospreay and Okada and Mercedes Moné is coming in instantaneously, doing not a whole lot of anything, not beating anybody of any significance and getting a title, because every title in AEW is on the same level, so it doesn't matter who's what. It's a hot mess, but I hate to say it, I can kind of understand where Vince Russo is going. I don't think we're going to see, and we haven't seen anything great from Ricochet. Am I being judgmental? Has he not had his time to get his feet wet and get going in AEW? For a man who talked so big about what he was going to do, I'm like, I expected it from day one, and they failed him from day one. He was in a good match, but they didn't give him any of the anything. The pop for him was minimal when he came out. When people realized who it was, like, hey, Ricochet, and then they were back in the match, and that was a done thing. And he's not getting any pops in even the singles matches that he's wrestling, especially when he's wrestling Beast Mortis and some of these other fools that are just like, why? Mr. Clark, you look like you either have something to say or you're very bored talking about Ricochet. Which direction are we going with?
It's not Ricochet. Why are we giving a platform to Russo at any point for any reason?
Yes.
And make me gag that any of us would want to say, even to the slightest bit, we agree with this person. I hate the fact that he has a point. But we've been talking about it just as long.
Yeah.
So is it that he has a point, or is it that we've all seen what he's talking about before he said anything?
Exactly.
Yes. I was going to say something. You said that you guys were saying he has a point. I'm just trying to make sure. I haven't drinking anything all day. I am completely stone sober.
Yes, bro.
Nothing in my system.
Yes, bro. Yes,
I'm
bro.
hearing this right.
Yes,
right?
bro. We're giving Vince Russo.
Okay, no,
we're giving Vince Russo a little bit of credit, but again, maybe Mr. Clark has a good point. Maybe the bro man of Vince Russo, bro, just is like, bro, I see everybody else talking about it, bro, so I got to put my 2 cents in, bro. Maybe I'm just gonna jump on the curtails, bro. So he's writing our curtails. Maybe that's the better response than saying necessarily anything else. But I mean, it's a point that we've already been making.
We don't want him on our curtails. He don't need to be on our coattails.
Well, maybe he realizes it's how damn good we are. And I mean, I think everybody should, after the video we dropped today with that AJ Kirsch interview, the in-depth interview, the best interview you're going to find anywhere in wrestling podcasting. It was such a joy and a pleasure to do that. And we'll talk more about that later after we get some more news out of the way, because that was a fun thing to do.
Yeah. You know, I do want to. It's not exactly a bone I want to pick with you, big time. But it's like whenever you talk about like the Beast Mortis, like he's not playing the role, you know, that he's paid to do. He works just as hard as everyone else. It's like, oh, these other fools that, you know, like just because they're not put in a certain spotlight, because that's how Tony Khan books it, doesn't mean he's not deserving of the respect.
He's Beast Mortis. What has he done?
A Mantar 2.0?
That, I mean,
he was known as Black Bruce in TNA and when he was in Mexico before.
Okay.
He was part of the Decay stable. Oh my god.
Okay.
I know. Okay.
I mean, what has he done? I mean, there's.
I enjoy his work.
That...
So I kind of get a little irritated. It's always about putting him down. It's like, no, he's playing the role that he's put in.
It's not about trying to put him down. He just doesn't have any significance, and they haven't done anything to make him feel like anything other than a jobber on AEW TV. So if you want me to clarify that, at least in AEW, anywhere else, I've never seen this man wrestle at any time. I've only seen him on AEW. And the way they present him on AEW is he's a joke of a jobber. They treat him like a comic beast. As they give him a mic, he's like, and I'm like, he's never been presented, at least in AEW, as a threat or as anything.
More on Collision than they do on Dynamite, that's for sure.
Yes.
The end result is if you have a problem on how they're presenting the Beast himself, Talk to Tony Khan.
Yeah.
Get blocked
Oh,
by
I don't wanna
Tony
touch
Khan.
Tony Khan. I want to take a bat to his knee, but that's a whole nother story. And
But
not
again,
literally.
I mean, every time I've seen this man, he's been in some goofy, weird tag team against another goofy. I mean, I'm even crashing. I mean,
What's
even
next? He's gonna be with the best friends and hugging.
it'll be the new best friends, and they'll be a heel stable. I don't know, but I mean, he's been running around with like, I don't know who. There was a match where he took on the conglomeration, whatever joke that is, of Orange Cassidy and the bearing of Mark Briscoe and the bearing of Kyle O'Reilly.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. Whatever happened to the idea of wins and losses don't matter as long as you can entertain?
I don't think any of them are entertaining with what they're doing. I feel like there should be more seriousness a bit behind Mark Briscoe. He is currently the Ring of Honor World Champion, but I feel like that is a joke title that Tony Khan doesn't take seriously. He threw it on Mark Briscoe because of the whole situation, and Mark Briscoe is just kind of out there doing his thing. Kyle O'Reilly, who can be a good wrestler in the ring, I don't think he's the best on the mic, but they're over there having him as a goofy person that I'm just like, this doesn't fit who I feel he should be, and it's just like he's running around with Orange Cassidy, and Orange Cassidy's even getting watered down at this point. Hell, we're repeating him in a Chris Jericho feud over a jacket storyline that's, what, 4 or 5 years old now? And Jericho's running around with the big stupid tree and this crab apple, and two guys that are never going to get over. I'm sorry, Will Morrissey's never going to get over in AEW. I mean... And the bad apple, this Brian Keith, whatever. I don't know. I hope that somewhere else he's used as some type of real talent, has something, but otherwise, he feels like Brooklyn Brawler to me.
The thing is, define your vision of what getting over means to you.
Do what?
If you would, define your idea of what getting over means.
Getting over, well, I mean, it means having something, having definitely quality matches and feeling like they need to be there, and other than just feeling like they are just a jobber or a sideshow. Will Morrissey getting... Go ahead.
Brian Keith, to me, when he first came in to what he is now, I think has gotten over more than what he was. As the bounty hunter, you're like, why is he called the bounty hunter? At least with Chris Jericho, with the learning tree, as the bad apple, to me, he's gotten more over than what he was. You see that he's a part of a group and that he's serving a purpose.
He's serving a purpose.
Hey, Chris Jericho, do you want to send Mr. Clark some Fozzy tickets at this point? He's putting you over.
I don't know if he's putting over Jericho. He's putting over more Brian Keith. I will say he has direction at least. At least there's some purpose to him existing and just being the bounty hunter. I will give that. But again, to me, he feels like the Virgil in this group.
I understand where you're coming from in that respect. I guess I think I see him more than that, though.
Well, and I think that's what always makes this work, is the way you look at things, the way I look at things, is what makes our whole dynamic work. Because I look at it and go, I could care less if he was on TV. He doesn't add anything to the long-term product. Is he got direction? Yes. Is he at least doing something? Yes. It's better than some of the other crap. Would I say he's in a better place than Mark Briscoe and Kyle O'Reilly right now? Yes, because I feel Mark Briscoe and Kyle O'Reilly are playing backseat to Orange Cassidy, and I think that is just bad because it's not doing anything to elevate them forward. I feel it's like Best Friends 2.0 out of whoever was left over on the backstage. Like Tony Khan I need new best friends, and it's going to be you and you, and that it's just never any of it.
I'm gonna call it
the conglomeration, which is just too much of a mouthful for any stable and just doesn't necessarily make sense. And then they're feuding with all these different random people, and then they're going against teams that are kind of heels, but it's just kind of like sporadic heels. And it's like, if they were given a purpose in the storyline and they were looking like they were moving something, or they were had a purpose other than just fighting random people, like every time they get into a trios match, it's 3 random people that just don't make sense. You know, to be like, oh, we're going to take Roderick Strong, Brian Cage, and the Beast Mortis. And you're like, why those three people? Like, can we not get like
Isn't variety the spice of life?
do what?
But isn't variety the spice of life?
Not in this form. I mean, not when you have Brian Cage, who's part of what, the Cage of Agony, and then you have Roderick Strong, who's supposed to be a part of this big heel stable called the Undisputed Kingdom, which was part of this gigantic storyline at the beginning of the year with the Devil and Adam Cole. And I get Adam Cole's been hurt, but they've made that such a big joke. I mean, they buried Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, and we've all discussed how that's just gone downhill. So I mean, it's like when you take a guy that already has a stable and put him in a triple threat or a 6-man tag with 2 other random guys, you're kind of like, where's the cohesion? If you're part of a group, shouldn't you all be banding together? That should be your group, and just like, let me pick you and you and you. And I mean, that's just Tony Khan's booking. That's overall how I'm always feeling. It's just random Tony Khan booking.
Which is why we coined the phrase #Powder Sniff Booking.
And another
Thank
thing,
you, Tony Khan.
when it comes to the Beast Mortis, I don't think they put him in there with the right people to wrestle with. It's like they put him in there with Ricochet, and the styles don't blend well. Like that match was not.
No.
I think there's certain talents. I think there's a reason why I see more on Collision than Dynamite.
Yeah.
That's just about the wrestling match. It's more old school ROH style than an attempt at it, I should say. I shouldn't say ROH, old school ROH style, but an attempt at it.
Yeah.
Or even New Japan, where it's not so much about a story as it is about the story in the ring.
Yeah.
And if you're entertained by that.
Yes. And there's a time and place for that, but there's also got to be that when you have a company on TV, you've got to have some cohesion, some storylines that keep things going. Just, ooh, let's do this for a while. And then, okay, we're going to go over here and do this for a while. Oh, wait, I forgot this guy had a feud with this guy 3 months, 6 months, 5 months, a year ago. Let's start that feud back up. I mean, I don't know how we got back to, I mean, I get sometimes old feuds come back, but the fact of the matter, we went back to Jericho and Orange Cassidy out of the blue to fight over a jacket. I'm kind of like, do we really need to go backwards to go forwards? I mean, can we get something different? And
when you circle back to matches like that, you are given a new reason to move forward.
Yes.
And circle back to those. That's the problem, like you're saying. They're not giving us a new reason.
Yes, and then the stupidity of dropping coins. I'm like, what are the coins really gonna do? I've never seen, like, we saw the big forklift, and I mean, you can't do that with everybody who's been watching wrestling for years going, oh, we've seen cement and all types of stuff dumped. Mr. Z is dying. He is like popped so hard he's knocked his camera over. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Z's back. Welcome back. Anywho, but it's like that was a big. That's where I look at Mark Briscoe and. That's why when I look at Mark Briscoe and Kyle O'Reilly and they're riding on a forklift and dumping, or a loader or whatever they're called, the tractor, and they're dumping coins on a car, is when I'm like, how am I supposed to take these guys serious? And I want to take them seriously. I want to believe Mark Briscoe can be a threat as the Ring of Honor champion and not just a guy that was given the belt because his brother passed away.
I don't know. Mark Briscoe is a hard one to really talk about because there's all that potential in the world.
Mm-hmm.
By the same token, it's like you do have that kind of elephant in the room, like you say. It's like this kind of feels like why he was given the title as opposed to the merit that they could showcase.
And he definitely could have been in a position to earn it, but the way they painted it, the way they let it come out across, is how I feel it was basically a consolation instead of showing him really earning it on merit and that he has the capability to be this. I don't care if he's the way he is comedy. I kind of enjoy the character he is, but it's like the rest of it, it's like he is presented as just a goofy comic character all the time. And then it's like this new thing with Orange Cassidy. I'm just kind of like, why do we need people always around Orange Cassidy? Why does Orange Cassidy always need a stable? Because he's not a heel. So Orange Cassidy can't get anything done on his own. Anyways, you back with
face stables, but yeah.
Yeah, I had a minor malfunction.
Minor earthquake. Anyways, let's talk about one of Mr. Z's favorite AEW stars who's making some interesting news we're going to talk about Mr. Bicycle. Bicycle. I ride my bicycle. Yes, ladies and gentlemen.
This is what I come back to. I have to clean up an issue that just happened over here, and that's the first thing I got to hear about is Mr. Bicycle.
Yes.
God. Go ahead.
You got to remember the last time he wrestled, he rolled a bicycle down the ring. So that's what he is to be. That's just what's stuck in my infamy. So blame Tony Khan.
That's what he is to everybody. He's injury prone, and he shouldn't be wrestling anymore.
And can't ride a bicycle or ride a bicycle. Anyways, he's making rumors as Kenny Omega has been on the shelf for almost a year due to diverticulitis, which required emergency surgery. The health issues made him step away from wrestling. However, Kota Ibushi has recently hinted that both he and Omega will be returning to AEW soon. Omega returned to television for the first time since December on the May 1st episode of AEW Dynamite, just to be turned on by the Young Buckaroos, the Tampon Bucks, who fired him and then brought in Jack Perry and the softest man in wrestling, Kazuchika Okada, to make the new elite. But Omega's close friend and longtime tag partner Kota Ibushi revealed that Omega has begun training in a facility in Japan. Omega has also been engaging in intense boxing training. Kota Ibushi took to his Instagram and hinted that his and Kenny Omega's return to AEW is approaching soon. He shared that their last practice session is done, acknowledging that although they haven't spent much time together recently, they are now pushing hard for their next steps. Ibushi mentioned that he's fully prepared for AEW and still has plenty of time to fulfill his promises. He noted how much the landscape has changed, but emphasized that the time for action has arrived, with he and Omega feeling highly motivated. He's also expressed appreciation for the flexibility of his AEW contract, which allows him to manage commitments while in Japan. Mr. Z, are you ready for Mr. Bicycle himself to return?
No, not at all. Not excited, not thrilled. He's a great wrestler. He does great things in the ring, but when he was presented at AEW, just like his other counterparts have been presented as a joke, I don't want to see him come back.
Mr. Clark?
I think, though, maybe if he lost some of that muscle mass, that might be too much for his frame, because he wasn't injury prone when he was a lightweight. He was doing all kinds of great things in New Japan.
Yeah.
Before he had the massive muscle put on. Because no matter how Tony Khan books him, what he does in the ring, he would not. I don't think it as in. I don't know. He just was not getting injured, like I said, when he was a lightweight. So right. I'm really wondering. You can put him through all the comedy stuff and all the powder sniff booking stuff you want, but he owns what he does in the ring. And so if he's not putting himself in the best place possible as far as how his body is, kind of more on him than Tony Khan. I don't think any of us are really excited, but some of us are still hopeful that he can get back to what he was and as good as he was.
Right.
Okay. Paul Heyman explains why he turned down TNA after WWE departure. For years, WWE Hall of Famer Paul Heyman has exhibited a deep and insightful grasp on the professional wrestling landscape. He's an essential part of WWE right now, but it appears that there was a time when he could have joined TNA. While speaking with Inside the Ropes, Paul Heyman shared that he was in talks to join TNA in 2010. After leaving WWE during this time, TNA had been trying to contact him since he left WWE, but at first, he wasn't interested in coming back to wrestling. However, after many phone calls, emails, and messages on Twitter, Bully Ray, Taz, and Tommy Dreamer encouraged him to listen to what TNA said, and the wise man went on to say this: I was long gone from WWE when I started talking to TNA. They had been trying to reach me from the time I left WWE, and I really had no interest in being back in the industry. Finally, after so many phone calls, so many emails, and so many DMs on Twitter from Bubba Ray, Taz, and Tommy Dreamer came to me and said, just talk to them, just hear what they have to say. Heyman noted that, and then he went on to say, my concept with TNA was the Dana White concept with UFC. Give me the ball and let me run with it. If I fail, I fail, and if I don't, I don't. But you're going to have to let me take a stab at this, not like New Jack stabs white people, but let me take a try at this. WWE had all these legends, all these Hall of Famers. They had an established product. They had a certain way. I was going to take TNA in a completely different direction. Unfortunately, for a lot of my friends of mine, that direction meant getting rid of all the legends and making a young guys promotion. At the time, WWE also fired Daniel Bryan, and my protege in ECW, who now runs the company called Evolve, Gabe Sapolsky, was very tight with Daniel Bryan because he gave him his first big break. So one of my plans was to bring Daniel Bryan into TNA at that time, and he was quite willing to do so. As he wrote in his own book, the whole concept was going to be to build it around the young guys, build it around a more MMA style, and just give it a completely different feel than the WWE light product that they were presenting back in 2010 and 2011, which is when I ended up talking to them. They didn't want to get rid of the old guys. They just didn't. They said, sorry, we don't want to do it. They had Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff. No knock on Bischoff this time. They had Sting. They had Mick Foley. They had Ric Flair. They had Kevin Nash. They had the Dudley Boys. They had Rod Van Dam. They even had Jeff Hardy. They had 10 people who were considered legends. How can you build around the young guys when you're giving all the TV time to people who are legends? And I wasn't going to be on TV either, by the way. That wasn't part of my plan. I was over 40 and didn't want to be on television anymore. It had to be about the younger guys. It had to be about the younger crew. It had to be new and upcoming guys, and one or two people like Daniel Bryan, who had established their name already, but still, he hadn't really exploded on the scene and was still considered a new guy, a young guy. He went on to say, they just didn't want to do it. They couldn't grasp the concept that these legends would all leave them one by one at some point. They just figured, no, but we have them, and why would we want to get rid of them? The public's not buying your product, so let's sell them a different product. He said they just wouldn't do it, and I wasn't willing to compromise what I believed was going to work. I wasn't going to come back into this industry and fail. I already felt that I had failed with the new ECW. I couldn't stop WWE from doing to the legacy of that brand what they did. I felt what I had was out the legacy of the brand and myself by performing on television shows, because what they did to the name of ECW was terrible to me. It was a nightmare. And I didn't want to relive it by getting back into the business only to fail again. So they wouldn't get rid of the legends. I don't want to say the old guys because I'm an old guy now, and I don't want people to get rid of me because I'm old. But if you want to get rid of me because I'm a legend, go right ahead. Hey, you're a legend. No, I feel so much better. Thank you. They wouldn't get rid of the legends, and at the end of the day, I knew it wasn't going to work, so I just didn't do it. Do you think Paul Heyman's concept for that TNA at that time, and Mr. Hart, this is probably more up your alley and up your breadwinning basket, do you think that that type of style and Paul Heyman would have been the key to maybe turning TNA into something viable then? Do you think that's what TNA should have been focusing on?
At the time, for sure. One, you would have had Paul Heyman booking. Two, the more realistic, slash UFC style or mixed martial arts style, with mixed in with traditional pro wrestling. It was different. The same way that Eric Bischoff looked at, WWE and said, how can I be different in every way to make Nitro? Paul Heyman was doing the same idea had he been given the book, had the pen to book, if you will. One minor nitpick I have, when Paul Heyman, at the time that Paul Heyman was giving the interview, Gabe Spolowski was running Evolve, but when Gabe gave Bryan Danielson his big break, was the original Ring of Honor from show one. I think from a historical point of view, that's important. Although it is, like I said, a minor tidbit to what Paul Heyman's point actually was. But yeah, I think that it would have definitely got some different eyeballs on the TNA product if they would have gone with Paul Heyman's idea and with Paul Heyman.
Mr. Z, your thoughts? And don't get too excited. We don't need you knocking over your camera again.
I don't know what happened there. It just fell backwards. It happens. I really couldn't tell you how I felt about it because I wasn't really following, TNA Impact that much. So it's like I really have no say in this because it wasn't my forte. Because at that time, Impact and TNA was really hard to find. Either that or I just didn't have the right cable network to show it. So I just have to, agree to disagree with Mr. Clark over here.
I think I was following it more on YouTube clips You can tell that they did try a little bit, not Heyman's whole idea, but you can see where they tried it with Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe as an example, where they would have like the hybrid matches, like for part of the match, and then turn it into a regular traditional match. You know, the second half of the match. I forget which TNA pay-per-view it was, but I mean, like, you know, they here and there they've tried the concept in solo matches. They just never, as an overall vision, tried it.
Seth
So
Rollins.
another way we can look at it is a variation of Raw Underground / NXT Underground. You know, that's kind of similar to the idea, not quite the same, but you know. So it's like professional wrestling in general has tried it.
Seth Rollins attends another football game. So does Bailey. Bailey watching the Niners again. At least the Niners win this time. So maybe it was Mercedes Moné because she was there, not there this time. Anyways, Seth Rollins watching the Ravens.
What'd I tell you?
Sean Spears looks to be moving in a new direction as he's going to be working in the backstage capacity and has a new position within WWE. Still should be seeing some in-ring time, but is now more in a backstage presence as some of the other news and rumors. And here's one that I want you all to pop on. This is something we've been dying to find out what it's all about. We have a report about AEW's Tony Khan, and he addresses how he uses social media. Tony Khan has remained an active user on social media since becoming the president of AEW back in 2019. He has often used his X, formerly known as Twitter, to promote AEW's weekly programming, advertising matches, or announcing breaking news. However, Khan has also used social media to react to AEW criticisms and poor rating, as well as throwing shade towards his biggest competitor, the WWE. Speaking to W Fan Daily, Khan explained what he thinks of social media, how he thinks social media is a great tool to gain an understanding of what his audience wants or explores his other professional venues with NFL Jacksonville. Anyways, Tony Khan said this: I think it's a great way to stay in touch with terms of listening to the fans in every walk of life. I also think it's fun. There's a lot of fun, interesting stuff, and the positives of it is definitely outweighing anything else. And I really love staying in touch with what the fans think. And that, I think it drives a lot of positive thinking, even setting aside the AEW wrestling and just talking about football aside of it. Over 35 years of my life watching football and watching how some of it has changed in the presentation, but it's so much and exactly the same. Khan recently addressed reports backstage drama in AEW, stating that every situation has its own unique thing. Tony Khan loves to use social media because he loves to listen to the fans. God, who else said that one time and didn't show it as a fact? I swear there's somebody else who said, I love listening to the fans, and never followed up what the fans said. I don't know who that was. So is this a buy or is this a sell? Do we buy Tony Khan listening to the fans, or is this a total sell and he's blowing smoke? He heard that somebody wanted to smoke, so he gave us a bunch of smoke. What's your take? What's the big gaping mouth for there, sir?
Because we know what he's smoking. It's that Ric Flair stuff.
I believe Tony Khan believes in his own words. I just don't believe he can be. I'm trying to find nicer words. I don't want to cuss. I don't want to go on a silly rant because we've done that enough as it is. But
the dead horse.
Yeah, exactly.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know, but do you have something to say, or are we just going to say watch the old videos if you really want to know?
There you go.
Watch the old videos.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this is Valley Wrestling. It's the weekly roundup. We are definitely deep in the waters today. We still got a lot to talk about. We got News Japan, we got news and reports from other sources, and we've still got to talk about Lodi.com MVP Chavo Guerrero Jr., the interview with AJ Kirsch, and the future and what's coming up next. But hey, we're going to take a brief break here. We're going to play a couple of videos for you, so let's get to them.
It's your boy Miguel Z with the Value of Wrestling New Japan Rebound Podcast. I've got a guest for you folks at StocktonCon.
What up, everybody? AJ Kirsch here, the voice and the host of Stockton Con. The value of wrestling is awesome, so subscribe on YouTube. Scan the QR code right here, now. Subscribe, check it out.
There we go.
You'll be glad you did.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, that part. Hey, man, shout out to Value of Wrestling. I'm right here with the Big Oos, San Jose. We gonna shut the shit down. Love and respect, though, man. Value of Wrestling. Hello.
Man, thank you, brother. Thank
This is the Value of Wrestling on the big time, and I'm here with some great news. Are you a Funko Pop collector? Are you searching for some hard-to-find Funko Pops? Are you just looking to complete a collection? Well, the Value of Wrestling is teamed up with the Goldmine. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Goldmine, which can be found on Facebook, or by going to the description below and clicking the link, you can sign up to join the Goldmine, who will help you find those hard-to-find, rare pops. They'll help you complete your collection. Just let them know when you're signing up what Funko Pops you're looking for, and that the Value of Wrestling sent you. The Goldmine, the ones that are going to help you to find those rare-to-find pops and help you finish your collection. All can be done at the Goldmine. Sign up today and make sure you tell them the Value of Wrestling sent you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back a little quicker than we thought. We'll wait for Mr. Clark to return here temporarily. But we're going to give the floor to the one and only Mr. Z, Mr. New Japan Pro Wrestling. The weekly Rebound podcast, Tuesdays on Patreon, Wednesdays on the YouTube. Every Wednesday right here, you can find your New Japan Pro Wrestling Rebound podcast. He also has a deep dive into New Japan Pro Wrestling that he's going to share, give you a little taste of that too for what's coming up. And we're going to talk about a new project, but we'll start with the New Japan. What are people going to get this week on the Rebound podcast?
Man, we got 5 events this week. All of them really great. Had their ups and downs. But I got to talk about last night. Last night was insanely crazy. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 title matches in one night. Decision of Kobe at the Kobe Hall. All of them great matches. One title change happened. The Never Belt changed hands. I'm not going to tell you who's the winner, but I kind of seen it coming with the direction they were heading. But I mean, seeing the Never Openweight 6-man defended, seeing the IWGP Junior Heavyweight defended against Doki and Yoshinobu was great. But Doki is obviously waiting for his challenger for Wrestle Kingdom. Tetsuya Naito and Great Khan, they tore the house down. That was a great match. David Finlay defending his belt as usual, still a strong holder of that belt. And we're just getting closer to Wrestle Kingdom, and I'm looking forward to the World Tag League. I need to see who's going to be challenging for the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles. That's what I'm waiting for.
That's all New Japan. That's going to come up on Wednesday. So if you want to know those details, stick around. Tuesdays on Patreon. Patreon's absolutely free. Wednesdays right here on YouTube. But tell us about the deep dive.
Well, we've seen them this week on AEW television. We joke about the Choppy World Tour and if I would take a chop from this man. But I have been working on the deep dive of the murder grandpa, Minoru Suzuki. A lot of information about this man, when he started, when he got his big break, and where he has been since. Why is he wrestling on trains, on airplanes, trains, and car rides? I mean, who knows? Why is he, beating the snot out of one? Oh man, what is her name? I cannot remember for the life of me right now. But Maki Ito, why'd he beat the living snot out of her? It's just unreal. Why is someone like that so serious, but yet such a big fan, a big fan base, mainly kids. Minoru Suzuki is for the kids, and if you haven't seen him interact with them, it is a beautiful thing to see that serious of a man look like a giant teddy bear for them. It's unbelievable.
But he beats up on little girls.
The deep dive. We're gonna talk. She asked for it. That was totally consensual.
So his new theme song needs to be Suzuki's Got a Gun. What did they do?
Yes.
So what if we got mirrored?
Okay, I gotta ask you now. So, what would be more iconic, Brian Pillman or Minoru?
Ooh, let's do a double play set. Anyways, let's ask this. Let's ask this question. If and Scoot SPW Supreme Pro Wrestling Sir Samurai, if you guys are listening, could we get Minoru Suzuki to Supreme Pro Wrestling? Choppy Mr. Z, that could be a big event. But for Scoot, I've got to ask this question: could we get the Murder Grandpa against the Sexy Grandpa in a match? And if you know, you know, and that might be an inside thing, but if you watch the channel, you're going to know all about it. Stay tuned, watch out. Now, recent events have transcended and grown Mr. Z to take on more projects, and that's just another step in the evolution of the Mr. Z. Constantly, he's coming at me with this company, this name, recently talking about how El Chupacabra has supposedly announced himself to be at Realm Warrior Championship Wrestling. Haven't seen anything confirmed for the November 2nd show at this time on that. But Mr. Z was popping big time for El Chupacabra, a big name in California. Hasn't been here in a long time from what I understand. And I was kind of like, who, what, when? And this brought up a new program. Mr. Z is going to do the independent deep dive, or whatever it comes to be titled, title working in progress. But Mr. Z is going to start talking about independent wrestling companies, independent wrestling stars that he knows of, because he knows a whole plethora of people, so that he can introduce you to those names, so that when we go see these names, interview these names, talk about these names, or catch up with these names somewhere, you too will know them and be just as excited as Mr. Z gets about some of these big names in the area. Because he gets so excited, he just can't hide it.
The plan is. Well, I mean, you heard if people watched the AJ Kirsch interview, I mean, I popped big time when he talked about where he's been.
Oh yeah,
the independent companies he has been in, because I have seen those companies firsthand.
And getting into that, if you haven't watched AJ Kirsch interview, you'd be missing out on AJ Kirsch crossing paths with Xavier Woods, AJ Kirsch crossing paths with Brian Danielson, AJ Kirsch crossing paths with Brian Cage, AJ Kirsch crossing paths with Chris Canyon, along with a whole other plethora of names, as in Grell and some other crazy name. I think Tommy Dreamer and some other crazy names of wrestling that he talked about in that great interview. It's on the channel. So that's the New Japan Rebound podcast update. That's your tidbit. That's your taste. That's your sampling. Great stuff. Now that Mr. Clark's back, ladies and gentlemen, do we have a Clark report for today?
This week. Sorry.
No Clark report again this week, unfortunately, but that's okay. We'll give you the Clark dance. That's what we'll do. No, I'm kidding. No dancing tonight. Anyways, I guess we can jump into the fun. AEW, as of Wednesday, recently, what?
No, go ahead. You're good.
Okay. AEW recently debuted MVP all in the same week. He showed up at Lodi Comic-Con, where me and Mr. Z were already planning to be, to already see Mr. MVP and Shelton Benjamin. There was some hurt going on. Will it be business? Will it be syndicate? We're going to have to wait and find out. Mr. Z asked a very great question to the MVP, the first ever IWGP Intercontinental Champion. He had a great response. It was a great time. We got to sit in a panel hosted by AJ Kirsch with MVP and Shelton Benjamin. We got about 30 minutes to sit there and just listen to what they said. A lot of great questions were asked. It was a lot of fun. Lodi Comic-Con was an absolute blast. And we're going to tell you this. You need to get ready for February 15th and 16th. So after you celebrate Valentine's Day, it's time to get nerdy. It's time to get geeky. It's time to get into depth of pop culture, because Stockton Con will return to Stockton, California on February 15th and 16th. So, hey, maybe you make it a lover's affair for the weekend. Take Valentine's Day and triple it and go for 3 days of Valentine's Day and join us at Stockton Con. Or maybe you just want to geek out, nerd out, pop out, whatever you want to call it. Stockton Con is going to return on February 15th and 16th at the Stockton Arena in downtown Stockton. We've been there twice. We've been there twice now. where we originally met AJ Kirsch, and of course last time where we got the choppy down by 1. Great. Matt Cardona, always ready, always to go. We also got to see Kevin Nash and Sting. Sting was the other man that was there. The Godfather came on Sunday, so we didn't get to catch up with him or see him. Who will be at Stockton Con Winter in February 15th and 16th? We can't wait to see that list. Hopefully it'll be some big names, and we're going to bring those names to you. We're going to be there. We're going to see our buddy AJ Kirsch, who's going to continue to be the voice of Lodi and Stockton Con. He's more excited. If you don't know, go watch the interview. 1 hour plus of sitting down, and what one person said was one of the greatest interviews in podcasting. And before I finish quoting him correctly, let's put it this way. Best interview ever. There are plenty of professionals out there, but it was the first that didn't feel like there was a specific agenda or storyline, but actually it was about getting to know and put over the guest at hand. I think that is a stellar comment to be made about that. And if you want to know more, you need to go watch that channel, or go watch, not that channel, you need to go watch the interview with AJ Kirsch, because that was a great statement. What else can you say? The interview was amazing. It came off beautiful. It had been a long day, and the fact that we were still all energized. Mr. Z was there sitting on the opposite side. And you know what? Let me give the floor to Mr. Z, because he did get to say a lot of it in the interview. He did pop up, but we knew this was going to be a good show. But Mr. Z, from the other side, give your take on what it was like to be sitting there watching this unfold in person, to be the only person sitting there watching it unfold, because not even me and Mr. AJ Kirsch himself are really sitting there watching it unfold. We were participating in it, so it's really a different dynamic to sit on the other side and just be able to sit there and watch it in real time.
I mean, just to sit there and listen to the story of a man who has so much love and passion for this business, and to speak so highly of it from day one when he was watching it as a kid. It was just unreal. That man has so much respect for the business at hand, what he wanted to do with it, where he wanted to go with it. It was unreal. And to see the development that he had from either in Tough Enough or when he developed his I want to say his main character, the one and only,
His alter ego,
Joseph Joe Brody. Seeing that first, his alter ego, yes. To see how that developed, I mean, it made total sense now that you would think about it. But seeing it firsthand, it was like, holy crap! How the heck did you come up with that? And then to hear him talk about how it happened, that was really cool.
And him talking about
this was definitely
him talking about Nickelback.
Definitely well worth the wait.
Yes.
Yes. His love for Nickelback, which, by the way, I like Nickelback. I ain't gonna say nothing, but you, sir, will just.
Oh, I enjoy Nickelback, but I had to give a reaction to that moment, because it's just you got to do some things. But I mean, it was spectacular, and who would have ever thought we would ever say Nickelback on this channel at any point in time? That Nickelback would become a specific topic that we would discuss in detail. And maybe one day we can all get together and go see a Nickelback concert with AJ Kirsch and have a blast. Who knows? But it was a great interview. It was fun to do. It had been a long day. I was very tired, but then we sat down. That camera went on, it started, and it was just effortless. It just became so effortless. There wasn't a whole lot of thought into it. I would ask, he would say something, I would be able to catch on to something, and me and him just flowed beautifully together. I hope he feels the same way. I hope at some time I can get some feedback from Mr. Kirsch just on how he felt about it, even if he looked back and watched it now. How beautiful it was. We got love and respect, because we did put out a message on Twitter about who's next, and everybody who's watched it. I see one, Mr. Miller has responded on X to say that, showing it some love. So a lot of names there. Mr. Clark, you want to add something to it all?
You just gave me an idea for a new piece of content. Maybe a year down the line, you have Mr. Kirsch do like a reaction video.
Very well. Very well. Could happen. But what is next? Well, we know on Wednesday, October 2nd, we're sitting down with the Dark Fox, the Obsidian Adonis, the SPW champion, Illuminate, right here on this channel with Mr. Z. Me and him will be sitting down. I have not decided if that'll be pre-recorded or if we're actually just going to shoot that live. Mr. Z's giggling over there. What has sparked your giggles, sir?
I'm just giggling. Just let me giggle. Let me have the giggles today.
Anyways, who is next? We know that we've talked with we got to talk to Scoot and Sir Samurai at Lodi Comic-Con. We threw out some experiences there. We even got to talk to Frost himself. Yeah, straight Frost. He's a contender. What if we can pull off the magic of one JR Kratos? Can we get a choppy and an interview? Could we get a whole segment right there with one JR Kratos? That could be interesting. Maybe we get some local natives. Maybe we get, you know, maybe we get a Bailey. Maybe we get a Jacob Fatu. Maybe we get a Jeff Cobb. Maybe at one point we can sit down with ECW legend, Mr. Extreme, a gangsta, Mustafa Saeed. Who knows? Anything is possible. Who is out there wants to talk? We set the bar. Hell,
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mr. AEW himself, Tony Khan. You can see we can do an interview, and we can be fair about it. Maybe it's time for you to come sit down with the Value Wrestling and have a true interview to show us your side of it all. But what a great interview. What a great time. Lodi Comic-Con was a blast. And the highlight, one of the big highlights, not only getting to sit down and doing that wonderful interview that we've been waiting for and getting there, and I had a little bit of nerves when we got into it, but once that camera went on and it just went, and it was great, and there was no second thoughts, and what was like an hour and a half of our time felt like 30 minutes. It really did. It was just so there and done, and it was on. And then we got the new Choppy Choppy. We have the third member of the Choppy Choppy World Tour, AJ Kirsch. His name is etched in the Choppy Choppy Hall of Fame. Who is next? We know two names. The Stoner Brothers are calling out Mr. Z for a Realm of Warriors Championship Wrestling on November 2nd. That's coming up. They're throwing their names in the hat. We know that JR Kratos has been called out. We know there's going to be a lot of names and different people coming up. Who knows? There's even been an idea for maybe a Halloween a Halloween setup, maybe a kid to do a Choppy. Who knows? We do have a big wrestling event coming up now on October 6th. So Sunday, October 6th, we have a wrestling event. Let me pull up that wrestling event while I'm thinking about it and get this picture, Chubb. Yes, it is going to be I guess this is Live Pro Wrestling Lucha Libre. I guess this doesn't have a name. Am I missing that? There's not an event, but it's going on.
I'm telling you.
It's going on October 6th at 4:30 p.m. at Woodland High School Gym. They're going to be there. We have Collectible Stampede and West Coast Designs is going to be there. And SPW is going to be there. It's going to be a live wrestling show at Woodland High School in Woodland, California. 4:30. Tickets starting at $20 for adults, $5 for kids. Come out, enjoy a show. If you're in the Woodland or near the Woodland area, it's going to be a fun time. Collectible Stampede, West Coast Designs, SPW, all taking their part in this event. It's going to be fun. It's going to be spontaneous. It's going to be some great stuff. So you want to be there today? We're going to be in there. We got invited to be there. We almost got, I basically asked to be there. Are you coming? And we said, okay, we will be there. And of course, the next big event for us will be SPW on October 20th for Ghouls, Frights, and Wrestling Tights. It's going to be the biggest Halloween party that you're going to find this Halloween. You need to be there. The costume battle royal is going to be amazing. If you caught any of the Lodi Comic-Con wrestling and saw the battle royal they had to start Lodi Comic-Con, which was over the top, beat down at Shima, Sir Samurai in there screaming he was the only one with a badge, and everybody else got to get out of here. The 15-man choke, the 20-man big splash in the corner, the insanity that is SPW is fun. You need to be there. If you joined it, there was a packed out house, standing room only around the arena at SPW at Lodi Comic-Con. You need to get out to SPW's Ghouls, Frights, Wrestling Tights. Dress up as your costume. There is going to be a costume contest. There is going to be candy to be given out. It's going to be a fun time. We're going to be giving out candy, and you got to know that passcode. And that passcode is going to be chop or treat. Chop or treat. Meaning you can either chop the big man or get a treat. No, I'm just kidding. It's just going to be chop or treat. Set him up.
Really quick, I had.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm gonna real quick. Now we talked about that the that journey is missing, and we discussed what to do. Did anyone notice on that picture that him and Jacob Fatu were the SPW Tag Team Champions?
Oh yes, I noticed that.
That you learn something new every day. I had no idea. I did not know that Jacob Fatu has held the SPW Tag Team title.
Jacob Fatu's been through SPW. Maybe at some point he can make a return to SPW to come and sign his name into the Choppy Hall of Fame. We'll get you.
Do you want me to die? Is
Jacob. I love you, Jacob. We'll get you 2 beers. I'll bring you a 12-pack in. You tell me what your favorite beer is. We'll bring you a 12-pack in. We'll let you chop the big man. We'll put it up on the channel. You can join the Choppy Hall of Fame where you deserve to be. It's where you should be, for sure. I want to see the big man chopped by Jacob Fatu. That would be legit. Come on. I'm throwing Jacob. You want JR Kratos. So, I mean, you're trying to go big league.
Don't you
not at the same time.
The same time? Okay. So the challenge has been put out there. JR Kratos and Jacob Fatu. Mr. Z wants you both at the same time to chop him. Tasty toes. Tasty toes. Tasty toes. It's the Tasty Toes moment of the night with Mr. Z, as always. Rebel Warriors Championship Wrestling, November 2nd, will be a big event. That'll be back at the Lodi Comic-Con, or not the Lodi Comic-Con, the Lodi Great Festival grounds in the, I believe it was the Chardonnay building, where we took a video and told you this is the building that we're going to be doing this show back in. It's the show we did it last time. It's going to be a packed card. It's going to be a great card, great show. Lots of names teasing to be there, teasing to be ready to have some fun. Lodi Comic-Con was blast. Shava Guerrero, the shout out from Shava was awesome. What a great time. What an excellent adventure. It was exciting. It was fun. MVP and Shelton Benjamin were great. Shava was wonderful. SPW action was amazing. And then the great interview we did with AJ Kirsch. So after this, go watch that. Give yourself an hour and a half of good entertainment. If you want to watch something as you lay down and relax tonight, it's an interview worth watching. I mean, there's no doubt this interview really sets a standard for interviews. It was like two friends sitting down having a conversation about something they both really were passionate and loving about, and that's what we want to do. And we hope that if you're an independent wrestler or promoter or anybody within professional wrestling or have connections in any of this and go, hey, these guys know what they're doing, we hope you see that and that you would want to sit down and do an interview, and we'll put it out there for anybody that wants to take us up on that challenge. We can do it live in person. We can do it over video right here on the Value of Wrestling, and make it a good old time in the hot town tonight. But like we always say, the Value of Wrestling is growing, expanding. We told you these things would happen. We told you we're going to bring you independent wrestler. We started that. We told you we're going to start bringing great interviews. One down. We got another one already lined up. And we got people in the wings just kind of waiting for a date, time, and a place. So those are other things that we can set up. It can happen anytime, anywhere. And we're going to be making moves, and we're going to check more with SPW as we move forward with them. Who knows what will come out of this event on October 6th up at Woodland at this high school gym. It's going to be a fun time in the old town tonight. Mr. Z's got an earthquake going over in his house, or he's either chasing his wiener under his table. I don't know which.
No, I'm trying to make sure this doesn't fall again. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yes. Tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, it'll be Monday Night Raw. We'll be back with the Monday Night Raw post-show review. Hopefully they'll give us something to talk about. Last week's issues happened on Monday, and then Friday night, there wasn't a whole lot to really get excited and just digest and dissect. Great match between Andrade and Carmelo Hayes. We're looking at to move into a 7th match. Of course, Andrade also picking a fight with LA Knight, not only in the backstage area, but even on Twitter. They are going back and forth with one another, so there's a lot of heating up there. So if you think LA Knight's not, or if you think Andrade's not getting the attention he deserves, he's wrestling the U.S. champion. Could Andrade be U.S. champion here in the near future? Could happen. Could be something great. Don't doubt what Andrade is good at. That's been the great stuff. The Bloodline storyline, Cody, Kevin Owens, There's a little bit of storyline. Who will turn? Will be Kevin Owens turning on Cody, or is Cody setting himself up to turn on all of them? Why is he working with Roman? He's told you he takes him at his word. Randy, Kevin Owens, a lot of stuff brewing. I do think I see finally where we're getting War Games. It looks like we're probably going to get Roman Reigns teaming up with Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and somebody else. Maybe a returning Jimmy. I don't think we're going to go with Bloodline original versus the new Bloodline at this point, because the way the story works, and I think The Rock is probably going to be making his return to join the new Bloodline as the actual High Chief or whatever. But I'm beginning to see that we may see Randy and Kevin and Cody work with Roman in this weird way. They're painting a very interesting story. Roman's more aligned with Cody, so I mean, November is just skipping the Survivor Series. It's just around the corner. So to really bring back Jimmy, pull Jay back into this, and get everything going in this short time, I don't see it. I think it's probably going to be Roman and Cody, and it might be Randy and Kevin reluctantly, and then by the end of that night, we may see Kevin Owens turn on Cody. I don't know. Maybe Cody turns on all of them. That would be a great shocker. We may wind up getting a Roman, Cody, Randy, Kevin Owens, and maybe you throw CM Punk in there against the new Bloodline with whoever their fifth member is. Maybe it's The Rock. Be a great way to get CM Punk in there, because CM Punk still wants some retribution for The Rock. That's a long time coming. So a lot there.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So we'll see what happens this week. Bad Blood coming up on Saturday, so we will be here Saturday with a Bad Blood review, because we are not going anywhere next Sunday. There'll be no weekly roundup because me and Mr. Z will be live. Very good chance we're going to be able to cover this action live. I don't know. We're going to have to get more details. Mr. Z, you're going to have to reach out, and we'll talk some more after this is off the air. But yeah, there'll be no weekly roundup next week because we're going to be doing some live wrestling commentating. And if wrestling commentating starts taking over Sundays, who knows? The weekly roundup might have to move to a different night of the week just to cover it. It's going to be hard to say because this is our A show. This is the show that is probably most important to all of us because it's the one show we all get together and talk about everything going on in the professional wrestling. Raw, SmackDown review shows, you know, they come, they go. Sometimes they're worth talking about, sometimes they're not. And it's not like there aren't 20 other thousand people out there talking about them in some form or fashion. But this is our A show. This is the show that we stand behind, and this is a show that we definitely want to make sure we're bringing to you each and every week, except when we have these other wrestling events that take the place of it. So there may be some changes coming to the channel depending on how things play out in the future, but stay tuned, stay with us.
Always busy.
Raw, Wednesdays, the New Japan Rebound podcast on YouTube, Tuesdays on Patreon. Wednesday night, we're going to sit down with Illuminate, the SPW champion, and I don't know if that'll be a live interview or if that'll be a recorded interview. I haven't decided. We'll see how that goes. Friday, SmackDown. Saturday, Bad Blood review show. The Hell in a Cell, CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. I don't know if Gunther's finally solidified his match with Sami Zayn. We're waiting for that to happen. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns teaming up to take on Solo Sikoa and our boy Jacob Fatu. Rhea Ripley going to take on Liv Morgan. And with the shark cage that Mr. Z kept talking about, Dominic Mysterio is going to be hanging high above the ring in a shark cage. I forgot. We got to give the flowers to Mr. Z for calling that stuff out. And probably many more matches. We may go over a review of that show and the predictions on Friday night. SmackDown and then transfer into that. So stay tuned for all that stuff. So much going on. Stay tuned. Make sure you give this video a big old thumbs up. Make sure you give us a great comment below. We appreciate everybody comes in and jumps in the chat. I see that we had 43 different people come through here. That's great. We still, there's 3 people still hanging on in the chat, or 4 people. So thank you for hanging out this whole time. If you've been here this whole time, we are making this show. It's going longer and longer each week. We're getting to some good standards, and we appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Value Wrestling. This is the weekly roundup podcast. We hope to see you on the next one, gentlemen. Tell them good night.
Have a good night.
Yes, we're gonna get out of here, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you on the next go around.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly. Thoughts jumbled around, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win. I'll take a stab, I wanna chase a bag. I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch.